Sometimes a friendship changes slowly, one quiet moment at a time. The words sound the same, but the meaning feels different. Doubt begins to slip into the spaces where trust used to live. And before you notice it, something underneath the surface has already shifted. The first time I realized Celine was not on my side, it was because of a story that started in my living room and ended in someone else's mouth. My name is Iris Calder. For most of my adult life, if you saw me, you saw Celine Ward somewhere close by. We met in our first year at university. She was loud, quick with jokes, sharp with comebacks. I was quieter, better with plans and projects than with people. We balanced each other. At least I thought we did. By the time the story began, we had known each other for 11 years. We had shared apartments, heartbreaks, late night noodles, and job rejections. We knew each other's worst fears and best dreams. That was supposed to mean something. On the night everything shifted, it was just the two of us on my faded gray sofa, empty takeout containers on the table, soft music playing from a speaker, the kind of evening that used to feel safe. Celine sat curled under a blanket, phone in one hand, wine glass in the other. So, she said, are you going to tell me, or am I supposed to drag it out of you? Tell you what? I asked. She rolled her eyes. Come on, Iris. You have been smiling at your phone for 3 weeks. Either you joined a cult or you are in love. I laughed despite myself. I am not in love, I said. I am hopeful. With who? Kieran, I said. From the studio. Her eyes widened. Your creative director, she said. The one you swore you would never date because you wanted to keep work clean. Yes, I said quietly. She put her glass down with a soft clink. Start talking. So I did. I told her about late evenings at the agency when the office was empty and he stayed behind to help me fix a campaign deck. I told her about the way he asked questions instead of giving orders, the way he remembered small details, the way he looked at my work like it was worth taking seriously. I told her how he had asked if I wanted to go for coffee, not as your boss, but as a person, and how I had said yes without overthinking it for once in my life. Her face stayed neutral as I spoke, but something in her eyes cooled. And you are happy? She asked. Yes, I said. For the first time in a long while, I feel like I'm standing in the right place. She was quiet for a moment. You know office relationships are messy, she said. I know, I replied. I am being careful. And if it ends badly, we are adults, I said. We will handle it. She took another sip of wine. You always liked things that looked good on paper, she said. This looks risky. I smiled, trying to turn the moment light. Since when are you the cautious one? I asked. Since I watched you fall apart after Rylan, she said. My chest tightened at the name. She was not wrong. That breakup had almost broken me. This is different, I said. If you say so, she replied. The conversation moved on. We talked about work, money, small irritations. At some point, she asked about the new pitch I had been working on for weeks. The Northline campaign, I said. If we land it, it will be the biggest account I have handled alone. Alone, she said. Not with Kieran. He oversees it, I replied. But the deck is mine. The concept is mine. He told me this could be the one that pushes me into senior strategist. Her face flickered. Look at you, she said. Important Iris. There was a hint of a smile on her mouth. It did not reach her eyes. I picked up the printed pages from the coffee table and handed them to her. Tell me the truth, I said. If this fails, I want it to be because it was not good enough, not because I was in love with my own idea. She skimmed through the slides slowly. The concept is strong, she said. The line about turning small brands into North Stars is clever. It sounds like you. Relief washed through me. So you think it works? I asked. Yes, she said. I think it works. We finished the night with another glass of wine. She left around 11, hugging me at the door. I just want you to be careful, she said. With the man, with the job, with your big heart. I will be, I said. I believed she meant it. 2 days later, I walked into the agency kitchen to grab a cup of tea. Two of my colleagues stood by the counter talking in low voices. I did not know Iris and Kieran were a thing, one said. Heard it from Celine, the other replied. Apparently, they have been sneaking around for weeks, and she is using him to push her pitch. The mug almost slipped from my hand. They had not seen me yet. She said Iris is aiming for senior strategist, the first one added. Smart play. Sleep with the decision maker. They laughed. Every word hit like ice water. My relationship with Kieran had been private, careful, protected. Only one person knew the details. I stepped back out of the kitchen before they could see me, my heart pounding, and in that moment, with my own secret hanging like a weapon in someone else's mouth, I realized something I did not want to admit. If Celine shared this, she did not do it by accident. I spent the rest of the morning pretending nothing had happened, pretending I had not heard my own life reduced to office gossip, pretending my face was not burning. I am good at pretending. Celine used to call it my survival skill. Around noon, I found her in our usual spot in the courtyard behind the building. She sat on the stone bench with her sunglasses perched on her head, tapping on her phone. She looked up when she heard my steps. There you are, she said. You missed the morning circus. I sat beside her. Celine, I said softly, did you tell anyone about Kieran? She paused for half a second. Just half. Enough. What do you mean? She asked. You know what I mean, I said. People at work know. Someone told them. She tucked her phone into her bag. Iris, she said. I only mentioned it to one person, and it slipped. We were talking about relationships and careers, and it came up. It was harmless. My stomach tightened. It was not harmless, I said. People think I'm using him. They think I'm sleeping my way into a promotion. She gave a small laugh. People always assume the worst, she said. You cannot control that. You can control what you say, I replied. Her smile faded. Do not put this on me, she said. I supported you. I told you I was happy for you. I stared at her. She had said those words, but the tone had been off. Soft, with a sharp edge underneath. You said you only told one person? I said. Who? She looked away. That does not matter, she said. It matters to me, I said. This is my job, my reputation. She crossed her arms. You act like I betrayed you on purpose. I did not respond, because I was not sure it had not been on purpose. Iris, she said, you are sensitive because you like him. That is all. No one cares about office romance. Relax. She stood up. I need to get back, she said. We can talk later. She walked off, leaving the word relax hanging in the air like an insult. I sat alone for a long moment. She had not denied it. She had not apologized. She had not asked how bad it was for me. She had dismissed it. More than that. She had protected the person she told instead of protecting me. When I returned to the office, the atmosphere had shifted again. People glanced at me, then looked away. I heard short, broken whispers. My name floated through sentences I could not fully catch. Kieran found me near the elevators. Iris, he said quietly. Can we talk? My throat tightened. Did you hear it too? I asked. He nodded once. I do not care what people say, he said, but I want to know if you're all right. I breathed out slowly. No, I said. I am not all right. He stepped closer. What happened? Celine told someone, I said. They told someone else. Now it is everywhere. His jaw tightened. I am sorry, he said. This should have been yours to share. We moved to an empty meeting room. He closed the door gently. I do not want this to affect your job, he said, or your pitch. It already has, I said. He looked at me for a long moment. Do you trust her? He asked. The question cut deeper than I expected. I did, I said. I am not sure now. He nodded slowly. Then be careful, he said. If she shared this, she might share something else. That thought hit me harder than the gossip itself. Because Celine knew everything. She knew about my past breakups. She knew about my childhood fears. She knew about the rejection from Northline 3 years ago that had crushed my confidence. She knew about the panic attack I had at 26 that I told no one else about. If she wanted to hurt me, she had a full gallery of targets. When the workday ended, I walked home with a heavy feeling in my chest. I tried to call her. She did not pick up. I sat on my bed with my laptop open, trying to focus on the pitch deck, but my thoughts kept circling back to one thing. Why did she tell? Around 10:30, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. You should watch who you trust at work. Some friendships expire quietly. I stared at the screen. No name, no context, just that sentence. End of chapter beat. I looked at the number again and realized something that made the air around me still. It was not a random number, it was a prepaid line. The same type Selena used when she did not want people calling her back. The lie had grown legs, and now it was running. The next morning, I arrived at the agency before 8. The hallways were quiet. I wanted silence. I needed it. I sat at my desk and opened the pitch deck. The lines looked blurry. Not because they were wrong, because my confidence was shaking. Celine and I used to talk through everything. She used to say my mind was a house with too many doors, and she liked walking through all of them. Now she had taken something from inside that house and left it outside for strangers to judge. At 8:30, I went to the break room to make tea. The kettle hissed softly, steady and warm. It was the only steady thing in the building. As I waited, I heard footsteps approach. 2 colleagues stepped inside. They lowered their voices when they saw me, but not enough. So it is true, one whispered. Celine said she told Iris to be careful, the other replied. She said Iris gets reckless when she likes someone. My stomach tightened. Reckless, a word I had never been accused of before. I picked up my mug and left before they could notice the way my hands trembled. Back at my desk, the office slowly filled with people. I caught small glances, half smiles, half questions. Kieran passed by my desk. You all right? He asked softly. I am managing, I said. He nodded. We present the pitch draft to leadership tomorrow, he said. I want you focused today. Let me handle the noise. No, I said. I can handle it. But I was not sure I believed myself. Around 10:30, Celine walked into the office. Not our floor, my company, my space. She never visited me at work, not once, not in 11 years. She walked in like she belonged there, wearing a fitted burgundy coat and her usual confidence. People looked up. She liked that. I stood when she reached my desk. What are you doing here? I asked quietly. She smiled. I came to apologize, she said. You seemed upset yesterday. I figured I should fix it. Fix what? I asked. She sighed. Iris, relax. There is nothing to be dramatic about. Some people misunderstood what I said. I cleared it up. I stared at her. Did you? I asked. Yes, she replied. I told them you and Kieran were keeping things professional at work. That was never the problem, I said. The problem is that you talked about it at all. She rolled her eyes slightly. You're taking this far too personally, she said. People talk. It is not that deep. I felt something shift inside me, a boundary cracking. You did not protect me, I said slowly. And you are not sorry, she scoffed. I showed up here to fix things, she said. You could at least try to be grateful? Grateful. The word hit me wrong. Before I could respond, Kieran approached us. Everything okay here? He asked. Celine turned toward him with a bright smile. Yes, she said quickly. I was just telling Iris that I support her. I want her to do well with the North Line pitch. I even gave her some suggestions the other night. My heart stopped, cold and sharp. What suggestions? Kieran asked. Celine placed a hand on my shoulder. Oh, just some lines about brand star guides, she said. She had them written already, but I helped polish them. The line hit me like a blow, because I knew exactly what she was doing. She was planting a seed, a small idea that suggested my work was not fully mine, a seed that could grow into doubt, or worse, ownership. I stepped away from her touch. You did not help with my pitch, I said. Not one line. Kieran looked between us, trying to understand. Celine kept smiling. Now you are being strange, she said. I only reminded you to tighten the wording. You said it yourself that night. I felt myself go cold, because that was not just a lie. That was a crafted lie. A lie with intention. Kieran stood still. Iris, he said, is this true? No, I said. None of it. Celine tilted her head. You are stressed, she said softly. I know how you get during deadlines. You forget things. My chest tightened. She was not just bending the situation, she was bending me, making me look unreliable, confused, emotional. It was a slow character assassination, and she delivered it with a calm smile. Kieran cleared his throat. I need to step into a meeting, he said. We will talk later. When he walked away, she leaned in close. You should be nicer to the people who know your secrets, she whispered. I stepped back, my breath unsteady. What do you want? I asked. She smiled again. Nothing, she said. I just want us to stay honest with each other. She turned and walked out of the office as if she owned the floor. I sat at my desk, unable to move. End of chapter beat. 2 hours later, the creative director sent me a message. Celine stopped by my office. She says she has concerns about your pitch. Come see me. My heart dropped. This was no longer about a rumor. She had inserted herself into my work, and she was not done. The walk to the creative director's office felt longer than it should have. Every step echoed inside me. Celine had not only talked, she had positioned herself where she could do the most damage. I knocked once before entering. Come in, Director Hayes said. He sat behind his wide desk with a version of my pitch open on his tablet. Kieran stood near the window, arms folded, unreadable. Sit, Hayes said. I sat. Celine's shadow sat between us without being in the room. Celine stopped by earlier, Hayes said. She raised concerns about your North Line concept. My throat tightened. What concerns? I asked. She claims the strategic backbone is not originally yours, he replied. She suggested parts of it were adapted from older freelance proposals she has reviewed in the past. The room went quiet. That is not true, I said immediately. She says she advised you on positioning language the night you showed her the draft, he continued. She even mentioned specific phrases. My fingers tightened against my lap. She is lying, I said. The deck predates that night. All versions exist in the server history. Hayes studied me. Kieran, he said, what is your assessment? Kieran hesitated. Iris built this deck from the ground up, he said. I supervise the direction. Celine has no official involvement. Hayes nodded slowly. Still, he said, perception matters. We cannot afford conflict this close to presentation. I have decided to bring in an external reviewer to audit the concept before tomorrow. My stomach dropped. You are delaying it, I said. By 24 hours, he replied. 24 hours was not neutral. It was poison in momentum. I stood calmly. With respect, I said, I am being punished for a claim made by someone with no contractual role here. Hayes leaned back. You are being protected, he said. If this explodes later, it will be worse. I am choosing caution. Caution for him, exposure for me. When I stepped out of the office, the corridor felt cold. Kieran followed. She went too far, he said quietly. I will speak to her. No, I said. Do not. He looked at me. She wants reaction, I added. I see that now. He watched my face closely. Are you afraid of her? He asked. I considered the question. No, I said. I am learning her. Back at my desk, my inbox was already shifting. One delayed approval, one rescheduled internal review, a comment on my shared draft marked needs clarification. The uncertainty was spreading. At 4:15, I received another message from an unknown number. You look unsettled today. Creative directors dislike instability. I did not need a signature. That night, Celine posted a selfie on her socials. Wine glass. Caption. Protect your reputation before someone else defines it for you. People liked it. By morning, the tension had matured into consequence. Two coworkers avoided me entirely. Another asked if I was still leading the North Line pitch. At 10, Hayes announced the audit delay in the leadership sync. My stomach tightened when I heard my name used with caution instead of confidence, and Celine was not even present. At lunch, Kieran sat beside me. She denies everything, he said. She says you're paranoid because you're afraid of being exposed. My chest tightened. That is the trick, I said. She makes you sound unstable so she never has to defend facts. That evening, I worked late to prepare every version history, every timestamp, every file evolution. If this was turning into a war of credibility, I would meet it with evidence. As I was packing to leave, my phone buzzed. A new message, private number. You should check the early drafts of your pitch. Funny how ideas evolve when other minds get involved. My heart dropped. I rushed back to my desk, logged in, opened the server. 3 files had been accessed in the last 2 hours. Not by me, not by Kieran, by a guest login, authorized by Celine's agency badge. I stared at the access log, breath tight. She was no longer just talking, she was touching my work. As I stood frozen at my desk, another email dropped into my inbox. HR would like to schedule a conversation regarding a concern raised about professional conduct. Now it was no longer just about my work. She was coming for my character. HR scheduled the meeting for 9 the next morning. They did not include a subject line. They never do when things are about to turn ugly. I barely slept. Not because I was afraid, because my mind would not stop assembling timelines. The files she accessed, the message at night, the delayed audit, the rumor seeds, the slow erosion of my credibility. This was no longer jealousy, it was strategy. At 8:45, I walked into the building with my spine straight and my hands steady. Kieran met me near the elevator. I am coming with you, he said. They did not invite you, I replied. I will wait outside, he said. You should not be alone with this. I nodded once. The HR room was small and bright, too bright, designed to feel neutral. 2 people sat inside, Lydia from HR and Celine. She sat with her hands folded on the table, back straight, eyes soft, the picture of fragile restraint. Iris, Lydia said kindly, thank you for coming. Please sit. I took the chair opposite Celine. She did not look at me. This is an informal inquiry, Lydia continued. A concern was raised about a possible breach of professional boundaries and misuse of authority. My jaw stalled for half a second. Explain, I said. Lydia glanced at Celine. Celine lifted her head slowly. Her eyes shimmered with something that looked like fear. I did not want to do this, she said softly. I really tried not to. I waited, silent. Iris has been leveraging her personal relationship with Kieran to pressure creative decisions, Celine said. She made me feel uncomfortable about saying no to certain directions. The words felt unreal. Lydia looked at me. What is your response? She asked. There is no leverage, I said. There is no pressure, and Celine has no direct role in this campaign. Celine shook her head slowly. That is not how it felt, she said. She would bring him up in our conversations, subtly, as if reminding me who made the final calls. Give an example, I said. She hesitated for 1 second too long. She said, Kieran already agrees with me on this, Celine replied. It made me feel like my opinion did not matter. That sentence never left my mouth, I said. Celine flinched slightly. I knew you would say that, she whispered. Lydia raised a hand. Let us stay calm, she said. Celine, is there anything else? Celine inhaled slowly. She also implied that people who questioned her work did not last long in leadership, she added. It felt like a warning. My blood cooled. You are inventing this, I said quietly. Celine looked down at her hands. I wish I were, she replied. Lydia folded her hands. Iris, she said, these are serious claims. We are not making conclusions yet, but we need to understand if there is any documentation or communication that supports either account. There is plenty, I said. The full version history of the pitch. And Celine accessed my drafts last night using a guest login. I have the server logs. Celine looked up for the first time. Her expression did not change. That was the moment I knew. She had practiced this. Lydia turned to her. Did you access Iris's files after hours? She asked. Celine nodded gently. Yes, she said, with concern. I wanted to understand how dependent she was on Kieran's input. You had no authorization, Lydia said. Celine swallowed. I thought transparency would protect the company, she replied. There it was again. The protective lie. The moral costume. Lydia wrote something down. I will need those logs, she said to me. You will have them within the hour, I replied. The room fell quiet. Then Celine spoke again. There is one more thing, she said. I felt it before she said it. The shift, the deeper cut. She asked me once to alter minor data points in rehearsal slides so leadership would feel more urgency, Celine said. I refused. The ceiling inside my chest collapsed in slow motion. That never happened, I said. Celine looked at Lydia. Why would I lie? She asked quietly. Because you already have. But lies spoken in a calm voice sound like truth to people who want resolution fast. Lydia exhaled. This meeting is not a verdict, she said, but in light of multiple concerns, we are initiating a formal review. Iris, you will step back from direct leadership on Northline during the review phase. My stomach dropped. For how long? I asked. Until we conclude, she said. And Celine, I said, what happens to her? Celine will continue her contracted consultancy role, Lydia replied. Of course she would. When the meeting ended, Celine stood first. She finally looked at me, her mouth pulled into the faintest smile. Not victory, not yet, control. Outside the room, Kieran was waiting. He searched my face. They sidelined me, I said. His jaw tightened. And her? He asked. They kept her, I replied. We stood in silence for a moment. Then my phone vibrated. A message. Unknown number. You see now how fragile authority really is. My hands curled slowly into fists. This was no longer about rumor, no longer about reputation. She had stepped into my career and moved the furniture. Later that evening, as I opened my personal email, a forwarded document waited in my inbox. The subject line read, Northline Preliminary Concept. Author, Celine Ward. And when I opened it, I saw my ideas inside it. Rewritten, reclaimed. signed with her name. Thank you for staying with me. This is where the story holds its breath. The questions are heavier now and the truth is close, but not here yet. Part 2 reveals what was hidden. If you want to be here when it drops, subscribe and turn on notifications. I will see you there.